Good afternoon, everybody. The United States government has authorized $42 billion to provide broadband connection to everybody throughout the country. Our calculations show that 42 billion is less than 20% of what is required, but there you have it. That's what we have for the moment. There is a device, or rather a cable, if I can call it that, called an optical fiber, which carries light. It has very thin core, as we call it, very thin glass, surrounded by a cladding, and I see nothing as well. So this so-called fiber, optical fiber, which I first met in 1975 under Professor Ash at the University of London, it has a core, as we said, it's very thin, and it has the cladding surrounding it. It is claimed that it can carry, and it does, a large number of data, and it has high speed. The main advantages, of course, is that it has low loss. Your battery is running down. Is it this battery or that battery?
It's got to be that battery.
Your main computer battery.
The fiber is not connected, actually.
There you go. Maybe it's not. I thought it was wireless power.
Well, as I said, there is low loss of the fiber. It can provide high speed, more than 1 gigabit per second. Some people even claim terabits or petakit, whatever they are called from now. So it can provide data security, and it has data reliability. There are also some disadvantages, like anything we do. It's costly, it's fragile, it can break easily. We work with a company in Germany doing optical fiber. They were injured because it was stuck in somebody's hand. There are bandwidth limitations. Contrary to popular belief that you can have any bandwidth you want, there are certain limitations. The fiber is dispersive, like a microstrip. So you have two types of dispersion: chromatic, which is the most serious, and polarization type dispersion. There can be a catastrophic situation when the fiber fuses. By that I mean it catches fire and it burns. Most of the fibers are unidirectional propagation, although now there is work to be one fiber for both directions, dual. Animals can destroy any fiber that is buried. Of course, fiber could be in air. It is used only for fixed broadband. You cannot use it for mobility. What you see here is a fuse fiber fire in Manhattan. As you can see, the fiber caught fire due to impurities, and it burned a length of a few hundred meters, a kilometer, and that disallowed broadband connection to a large number of offices in the area. It took 2 weeks to fix. So it can have problems if we are not careful. Now, this tells us the distance that we can use a fiber due to its dispersion phenomenon. For example, this is the equation used to tell us what is the length we can use a fiber. I won't belabor this point. I will go to a calculation. if we can find it. Oh, maybe that's. No. Right. So if we choose a bandwidth of 10 gigabits per second, and we use that equation, we find that the maximum distance we can use a fiber is 61 kilometers. If we decide to put 40 gigabits per second, it will be only 3.8 kilometers. That means we need dispersion corrections every 3.8 kilometers. If we are going to add, let's say, the polarization dispersion, then we drop by about 10%. We have 54 kilometers for 10 gigabits per second and 3.4 kilometers for 40 gigabits per second. So most of the time, we use 1 gigabit per second because it can go 6,000 kilometers without any problems. We need nothing. Now, this is a point of presence in Germany, our sister company. As you can see, there is a big spool there, which has about 12 meters of extra fiber. Because fibers can be destroyed, you have to cut them, splice them again, and so on and so forth. This fiber is 96 fibers, let's say, and we can see that we only use a small portion, between 8 to 30 fibers. Why? Because as they are building more houses, we need to use more of those fibers. If we use them all and they build new houses, then we have to add another group of fibers, and nobody wants to incur that cost. So the maximum amount of the fiber can carry, the 30 fibers, about 30 gigabits per second. And the rest remains to be added in years as deployment increases up to 96 gigabits per second. And as I said, this is for fixed broadband communication. So, we thought, how many towers are there in the United States today? There are 145,000 towers. They are there. Can we use them? Instead of digging the whole country and putting the fiber? That was the first question to us. Well, first of all, it's less expensive. The towers are there. If you can communicate in your cell phone in an area, then you can use it also to communicate in broadband Wi-Fi. You can provide, if you can provide the same high speeds, then we have another advantage. And it can be used for mobile communications. You cannot take your fiber with you as you are driving. So, we started doing some work here. We had a customer in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince, a city of 3 million people, who had problems with congestion. He requested a simple 4-beam wireless system, 4 beams in 120 degrees. So we sent him something. I believe Mr. Jalil is here. We sold it for $10,000, something like 11,000, something. So the result was spectacular. The company had 28 megabits per second using the ZTE equipment before, and now they had 304 megabits per second, which was more than 10 times what they used to have previously. But how could the 4-beam system provide 10 times the speed? That was the question. Well, first of all, the antenna gain increased because the beam was narrow. It became 60 dB more. Secondly, because the beam was narrow, each beam was narrow, the noise coming from 120 degrees was not received, only the noise that was in the 30-degree beam. So you have another 60 dB advantage by lowering the noise. So the customer was very happy. I think finally we did get paid, yes, for that system. Yes. There was a 10 times increase. We used the same channel for each of the 4 beams. We didn't use different channels. One channel for all, as the 3 Musketeers said. So 10 times increase of speed, same channel, customer elated. Now, what is the maximum number of beams we can create? Not for telecommunication, for defense. We can create 1,024 beams. That's the maximum that our company can provide. I don't know how much speed we can create with that. So, I live in that area, Upper Mount Bethel, which is a very beautiful area. It's a small township. It has an area of 44 square miles. It has 6,500 people, and it has 2,650 houses and businesses. As you can see, it's a beautiful country. Clean air, clean water, easy life. But there is one problem. In the summer, when it rains, people cannot get their cell phone to work. There is absorption, there is scattering, and the extinction of the signal is quite high. So, since the government has mandated that broadband, any telecommunication connection is under utilities for each county and each township, the people of Upper Mount Bethel had a meeting where they had a rope to hang to lynch the mayor and the officials of the township. After things were calmed, we proceeded, and this is the township. So this township had areas where the cell phone would not work, broadband wasn't there, phone wasn't there, and if anybody had an accident, and needed a doctor or a hospital, he would have had great difficulty. I took my car and went around with a spectrum analyzer and a signal analyzer to check the area. And indeed, I found 3 big areas where the cell connection was not available. Anybody from AT&T here or Verizon? Thank God, then I can say what I have to say. So I called AT&T and I said, guys, you have 1 tower in this township. Let us take your signal and extend it so it can cover this area. You think I tried to kill their first child? They said, you don't touch our frequencies, you don't do anything with our band. I said, okay, you do it. They said, why? They are already our clients. Why should we spend any more money? And that was the response. So I said, okay, AT&T is not good. Let me go to Verizon. Verizon sent me to a foreign country where we were discussing how we could improve Upper Mount Bethel, PA, the cellular connection. Nothing happened there as well. The mayor went to T-Mobile. He didn't have any luck. So, we didn't know what to do. We proposed to put where there is a green sign on the right circle, there is a key. We propose to put a tower there. So listen, we put a tower. The distances are 4.3 miles from the other circles. And we will provide a multiple beam system where not only we will move horizontally in the azimuth, but we will move vertically so we can hit various areas that have no connection. So they were pleased, we discussed it, we were ready to proceed. When somebody came and said, listen, I can't get any Wi-Fi in my area. I So we said, listen, we are going to put the tower. Why don't we put broadband as well on it and give to the people of Upper Mount Bethel, PA, a broadband connection? Because if you want to wait until the 2035 to get the fiber, I might not be alive myself. So anyway, they agree. And this thing here shows that as your vertical elevation angles increase, the losses due to forest, because that was a big problem, decrease, which is obvious because I don't have to go a long distance. I go a much shorter distance by having an angle. So we show that to them and we proceed. So this is again similar. It shows that we have a number of elevation angles as well as a number of azimuth angles. So we said we will put either a 3 antenna system on that monopole tower, because that's what we're going to use, or a 4 antenna system. And where are you going to put the radios? We said we'll put them inside. This is a tube. It's a tube with thick metal. They claim they can accept 180 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. They will have windows on this tower. The maximum length will be 4 to 6 feet, depending what you use. We'll put them inside so they don't look ugly. They look pretty, in a way. They said, okay, let's proceed with that. So we said we will put 96 radio. That will be about 5 feet of depth on a 65 feet tower. If we can get 1024 QAM, which is debatable, at 80 megahertz, we can have 153 gigabits per second from that tower. If we use 40 megahertz bandwidth, we get 76, and if we use 20 megs bandwidth, we get 38 gigabits per second. Remember, we can use the same band, the same channel. We don't have to, but it could. If we use 256 QAM, why I mentioned 256 QAM? Because we will see a test for 256 QAM that went 5 miles in the city of San Francisco today. Then we will get 122 gigabits, 61 gigabits per second, 30 gigabits per second. Remember, normally a fiber carries 1 gigabit per second. So you can split it to 10 people if you want 100 megabits per second, as the government wants us to have. So you have similar speeds here as an optical fiber, you can say. We are not trying to replace optical fiber. We are trying to complement it, because there are, as I said, 145,000 towers. We might as well use them. Let's see. Now, if we use 3 antennas, let's say, and we use 72 radio, which would be 4 feet of radios, then we will get 115 gigabits per second, 57 gigabits per second if it's 40 megs, and 28 gigabits per second if it's 20 megs. And if it's 256 QAM, which you have proven, we can get 92 gigabits per second, 46 gigabits per second, and 23 gigabits per second. We will show an example of 40 megahertz, 256 QAM in San Francisco. This is the statement from the president of that company, the CEO, who stated that they received 256 QAM connection in the city of San Francisco for 5 miles distance. So let's see what, I think I'm fast, what we have here. If we want mobility in our broadband internet, only a wireless fiber can do it. If we want fixed, then both fiber, optical fiber, and wireless fiber can be employed depending of the local requirements and the cost.
Why do you call it wireless fiber?
Well, only because it has similar speeds as the fiber. And since the cliche, the word today is we have to use fiber, this fiber, that, we thought we call it wireless because it's wireless and have the same speed as fiber. We could have called it something else, wireless, sky, fiber, hyper, wireless, many names. But because today everybody talks about fiber, we thought we might as well get on the coattails of fiber and call it wireless fiber, because it is a wireless system.
It's a hybrid system.
It's a hybrid system if you are to use fiber to go outside or cable. Yes.
What is the performance during a heavy rainfall or fog, heavy fog?
There is no problem with heavy fog, especially if you don't millimeter waves. The scattering from fog is for very high frequencies. For rain is 20 to 22 gigahertz. For oxygen is 60 gigahertz, and this is sub 6 gigahertz, 5.7 to 5.85 gigahertz. So there is no problem with elements, hydrometers.
I just want to say that this was proposed many, many years ago in the 90s when cellular and all these other wireless systems came about. And it was proposed as an enterprise system for Homevanian, where he wanted to have a bulkhead at the entrance to his property, and he wanted to beam the cable into the condos or into the houses, okay? And collect revenue from that till after he moved out of the condo, he was gonna run it as a business.
There are two new things here. First, we have done something similar, although I cannot say what, in detail, on the Star Wars project. We were part of the Strategic Defense Initiative, and we did something similar, although smaller than 1,024 beams. The second thing, there is funding from the United States government. Those days, they may have been or not funding. So now everybody is jumping on the bandwagon. We're trying to find a cheaper way, because 42 billion ain't enough. You need 225 billion to put broadband everywhere. And remember, the utilities are responsible to provide broadband to its citizens. So you shout at your mayor and you say, you take my garbage, you found a company for it, I want utility, I want broadband. You cut your throat, you do what you want, but bring me broadband. And don't bring it to me in 2035. My kids need it today. So that's the difference.
And also years back, it was called LMDS,
Yes, I know.
okay? That band and those services were defined businesses.
Well, are they around?
Now that went away.
So, thank you.